You want to know what I miss? Roster reveals. Like the ones at SummerSlam a few years ago. Or if you're old like me, the SmackDown Countdown on IGN.com every day. So with that said, let's take a look at SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, the Definitive Edition's roster. Okay, let's take a look at the roster now. First up, we got former cover star The Rock. As you can see, it's his Shut Your Mouth model. Rock in this game will have 5 attires. This Rock model, in my opinion, is the best Rock model that Ukes did up until SmackDown vs. Raw in 2004. As you can see, Rock has his 2 default attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. The trunks with the red Rock logo, as well as the We Bring the Whoopin' shirt. But he also comes with a custom by me, Just Bring It USA shirt, which I always liked and always wanted to be in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. It's really cool to have it in this game. Purely because I also think that what I've done here is I've gone for sort of a career slot with The Rock, where he'll have 5 attires, so it starts at sort of late 2001 and goes all the way into early 2003. The funny thing about this model with The Rock is, in the original build of Here Comes the Pain, when I went to a press event back in, I want to say June or July of 2003, the behind closed doors footage that we were shown was this model of The Rock, just with the buzz cut and the new tattoo. There was no difference. Then later on, which was, I think, probably around late July, August, when the press started getting press screenshots and preview build discs, as well as going to preview events, Rock's model had changed yet again. It was the same build in terms of size and mass and sculpt on the body as the retail version. However, the textures were much better, and the face was far better sculpted than what actually ended up being in the final release. I have no idea why they changed it for the final release, because it was, in my opinion, it was not just a step down, it was 5 steps down. I mean, look at this. Look at this Clayman. I mean, it's perfectly serviceable if you've not seen SmackDown Shut Your Mouth's Rock, or even the previous screenshots of Here Comes the Pain's Rock. Like, this was a shock to me when I saw it. Funny enough, Triple H went through the exact same thing in this game, which we will cover later. But basically, I did not want this model, and I didn't have an earlier build of Here Comes the Pain, which actually featured The Rock as a character. I have other builds, but they don't have The Rock's pack file, so unfortunately, I had to build a custom. So I started with a buddy of mine, and I said, look, I want Rock to be matching in this game, and I want it to be on the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth model. So he took a crack at it, and then sent it back to me with what he'd done, and then I edited it further, and what we ended up with was this. Now look how much better that is. It matches the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth model, and actually the early Here Comes the Pain trailers. It comes with both the tires from Here Comes the Pain, so the blue and silver Rock logo trunks, and the leather cowboy outfit, which is great. And here are your 5 attires for The Rock. All backstage attires have sunglasses for season mode, as well as entrances. He plays beautifully. He has both theme songs. I'm actually trying to look through the animation data for the non-chopped up Hollywood Rock entrance. It is on one of the builds that I have, but I don't know which part of the animation data to look through for entrances yet that actually comes up working perfectly. I've so far got through the lighting bits of that, so hopefully in time the Hollywood entrance will be put back together instead of the chopped up version that they ended up shipping. Okay, so next up we got Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, as you can see, this is his Here Comes the Pain model. He has 5 attires. the 3 defaults from Here Comes the Pain, as well as a custom watch shirt by me, which might change. I'll talk about that a little later. And then the 4th attire, you might see that it's just him in the jean shorts. Now, going back to what I said earlier, when I went to this press event, which showed very, very early footage, this is the Steve Austin they showed. He wasn't in wrestling trunks, and he wasn't wearing the vest. He was just in his jeans, and he was beating up Eric Bischoff, beating up The Rock, beating up Brock Lesnar, possibly some other person as well. And I thought, remember, this is not just about adding, this is about re-adding. So I totally wanted to put this back in, and it's here if you want it. If you don't want to play as it, you don't have to. Speaking of Austin, though, he will be one of the characters that gets a variant. So if you do not like the Here Comes the Pain model at all, you can have the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth model of Steve Austin. Now, it comes with both default attires, so the trunks and the watch shirt, but it also comes with, yes, the jean shorts, but he will enter with a vest in entrance attire, and he also comes with the bulletproof shirt, which actually, like I said earlier, the Here Comes the Pain model, the watch shirt might get replaced, and I might replace it for the bulletproof shirt as well. The 5th attire for Steve Austin, I'm thinking of doing an Alliance attire, somewhat to match The Rock's USA Just Bring It flag shirt. Basically, the Raw before Survivor Series, if you watch that, they had a little sing-song. So what Austin is wearing there is likely going to be what the 5th attire is. So, okay, Steve Austin. When we're in regards to theme music, The Rock has his 2002 theme, which he also had in 2003 just for the first SmackDown he returned, and obviously the Hollywood theme. And Austin has 3 themes. So he has the normal Glass Shatters, he has Disturbed, and he has the Alliance theme song. Right, moving on. Now we get to The Undertaker, and you might notice something different, or you might not. On the 2 Here Comes the Pain models, if you look to his legs, you'll see that the trousers have the Dead Man Inc. logo on. Now, this Undertaker is not the final build Undertaker. It's actually a higher res model. It's bigger in size, and it has the Dead Man Inc. logo on. This was shown off at every press event and every preview picture up until about August, and then for some reason they took the logo off. I just put it back in because I preferred it being on there, and I remember when I was following Here Comes the Pain coverage, I made notes of all these attires religiously, and then was disappointed when either a model change happened or something was removed. I never appreciated that. His 3rd attire is a convert of SmackDown Shut Your Mouth's the Big Evil shirt. However, I might do a variant which is just the Here Comes the Pain model with that shirt on it as well. That's The Undertaker. We're moving on. And now it's Triple H. However, this Triple H model is not the one in the retail build. This Triple H is actually the 2nd Triple H. As I said with The Rock, Triple H had 3 models. The first model in the very first, I think, 3 press trailers was his SmackDown Shut Your Mouth model tweaked. So it was like he still had the facial hair, still had dark hair. The model was definitely higher poly, but not as high as this. But it was very good model. I really wish I had that model. That would be the Triple H I use. And then there was this one. Still has the dark hair, still has facial hair, but only has these 2 attires. This was from a kiosk build that I acquired. This was a build that was used at the PlayStation Experience in Earl's Court in London. The selectable characters in this were The Undertaker, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, and maybe I cannot remember if there was somebody else, but it was definitely those 4 characters. Oh, Jericho, because Jericho is also selectable in that build. Yeah, so this will be your Triple H's first attire, and the suit will be his backstage attire. And then, as you can see, there he is next to the default Here Comes the Pain models, which have less facial hair, a lower build, I really hated this model, like the face, the bar, everything about it. I might actually change it and use the second Triple H model, which is here, and just use those attires and lighten the hair and change the face texture, because I'm not happy with this model at all. But if you don't like these at all, you can always use the variant, which is the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth Triple H, which will be all 3 default attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. The jeans and leather combo is a personal favorite of mine. And then also he will have the WrestleMania 19 and is it No Way Out 2003 against Scott Steiner where he wore the red. I think in Royal Rumble he wore black, right? And then No Way Out he wore red. Yeah, must be. So yeah, that'll be Triple H's attires. Triple H has 2 themes. He has the game and he has My Time. So whatever you want, you can put on. Next up, we got Kurt Angle. And Kurt Angle starts with his default attire with hair from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Then it's a custom attire from WrestleMania 18 on the GameCube by me. There are slight alignment issues at the bottom I can still see I need to fix, but other than that, he's pretty much good to go. Then you have the default red A from Here Comes the Pain. Then you have the Team Angle attire from Here Comes the Pain. And then you have the locked, for some reason, Team Angle sweatsuit, which I've unlocked, and now Kurt walks around backstage in that in season, as does Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. So that's pretty cool. Moving on. Hulk Hogan returns. Now, Hulk Hogan, I'm intentionally leaving space on this disc at the moment because I'm hoping somehow, some way, I get a build with Hulk Hogan on it from Here Comes the Pain. I still have my video footage as well as my screenshots of Hulk Hogan from Here Comes the Pain facing off against Hollywood Rock at No Way Out 2003. I really like that model. But in the meantime, I've moved over 2 of the Shut Your Mouth models, which are attires 2 and 3, which is the first red and yellow attire from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth with the t-shirt and boa and sunglasses, and the NWO attire from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth with the t-shirt, the boa, and the sunglasses. The first attire is a custom by me. I've studied the Here Comes the Pain model, and I peppered the facial hair, so it's like very slight, but it's mostly clean shaven. Yes, all 3 Hogans come out with different entrance shirts. The first Hogan comes out with the shirt that he came out with at No Way Out 2003, just because I felt that's obviously an iconic match with Hogan Rock 2. Actually, I love Hogan Rock 2. I think that is a really well done match. And Hollywood Rock was just fantastic. Moving on. Oh, before I move on, actually, Hulk Hogan does have his entrance and his win pose, and obviously his moveset, and he has 3 songs on this game, which is Voodoo Child, Real American, and obviously the NWO. So you can play around and have what you like. Moving on, it's Kane. Kane has 3 attires currently. He might get a full mask 4th attire. I'm not sure yet. But he comes with the first vest attire from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. The half mast from Here Comes the Pain, which I might actually make the default attire. And the dreaded Ball Kane, where they decide to ruin his character. Enough said about Kane. Moving on, we have Chris Jericho. Now, what you may notice with Chris Jericho is the first attire is not clean shaven like it is on the default SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Yes, because on every build right before release, Chris Jericho had the goatee in that attire. So I put that back in. Then for the second attire, as you can see, it's the backstage attire just without the jacket, so you can wrestle in. Basically the same as SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. So you have both. Then you have the blue sort of attire that's kind of like WrestleMania 19. Then the third attire is the fourth attire rather is SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, the Undisputed Champion. However, there will be a variant where this attire doesn't exist, because the clean-shaven Jericho model from Here Comes the Pain will actually have the WrestleMania 19 trunks. I just haven't finished making it yet, so I haven't actually displayed it on here, but that will be the 5th attire, and then you can have the Shut Your Mouth attire as a variant. Moving on. Brock Lesnar here showing off 3 of the 4 attires, 2 sets of trunks and the F5 shirt. The only attire that isn't shown off is in the early stages of development in Here Comes the Pain. Brock Lesnar has an elbow pad on I think the right arm of the first attire. So that's also added in. I haven't forgotten about it. And that's in. So that's Brock Lesnar. Not much to say. Then we got Booker T. And as you can see, he has his default Here Comes the Pain attire as well as the 3 attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Now, I didn't have time to take a photo of this, but you can have the Shut Your Mouth models, which in actual match are not as shiny as they look here, don't worry. Otherwise, I've done Booker T, the Here Comes the Pain model, with all 4 of these attires, and the blue attire is a 5th attire. So Booker T is all taken care of. You can have the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth model or the Here Comes the Pain model, whichever you like. Moving on to Chris Benoit, and Chris Benoit again is the Here Comes the Pain model, but with the 3 attires he had in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which technically I believe are his most famous attires, especially the black and purple. That's my personal favorite. So that is the default in season. But he has all 3 of those, as well as the 2 attires from SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Moving on to the Big Show. Big Show has 4 attires, 2 from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and 2 from Here Comes the Pain. Now, you might notice in some of these screenshots that the menu poses are different for some of these characters. That is because when I move people around slots, I didn't know where the menu animations were, because they were tucked away. So later on in another version, I will fix the menu animations, but it's only for the main menu. Everything else is perfectly fine, so do not worry and please pay no mind. But yeah, so one of these attires, Big Show actually has an NWO entrance attire as well. I think it's the 2nd attire. He's got the NWO the shirt over it when he enters. Next up is Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels has 4 attires, and all 3 of these are actually in Here Comes the Pain right before release, I believe. Basically, the only new attire here is the Don't Hunt What You Can't Kill shirt. The 2nd attire, if you haven't seen it before, that is probably because in every build up until August, that was Shawn's 2nd attire. It is based off of the Raw before Armageddon 2002, where Shawn and Triple H fought in the back. And it for some reason was removed off the disc. So I thought, well, we gotta put this back in. The default T-shirt that is in the retail release isn't on this version, purely because I constantly get asked about a WrestleMania 14 Shawn Michaels or another wrestling attire from 2003, 2002. So that is still up in the air. He might get a 5th attire. I am trying to save space, but he may do, and it might be another pair of wrestling tights. Moving on, William Regal returns. William Regal, both attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Regal has his win pose as well. So basically, when you win a match, he has his outro, is what I'm saying. And he has both songs. So he has his 2001 song when he turned heel, and he has his 2000 William Regal song, which kind of matches just the straight up maroon pants, the 2nd attire. Then we got Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam has 4 attires. RVD has the 2nd attire from... Well, the 2nd attire is actually the 1st attire from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. And yeah, it's basically the other 3 of the defaults, and he has that attire. The only other difference is the green RVD attire here is the 1st attire, because that was the 1st attire in every build right before release. So I like to keep it the same. Moving on, we have Eddie Guerrero. Eddie has both attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and the shorter hair Los Guerreros attire from Here Comes the Pain. He does come with Latino Heat, the theme song, so you can put him and Chavo together, or have a singles run with the Latino Heat music, which they had all the way up until the end of 2002. But don't worry, the Los Guerreros song is also still on there. And there's Chavo. Nothing to say about Chavo. I was contemplating putting a singles attire in for him, but I'll be waiting because I want to see if I can get a hold of any other builds of Here Comes the Pain, so I can possibly put in those Hogan models, maybe Ultimate Warrior, and definitely Jeff Hardy. So until then, Chavo, one attire. Next up, we got Edge. Edge has 4 attires. He has blue, maroon, black, and purple. So basically, every attire from Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain is on this, with entrance jackets and all. Then we have Christian. Christian, as you can see, has his 2 long hair attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and his short hair from SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. So you can put Edge back with Christian, or you can have Christian with Lance Storm for Un-Americans, or you can have Christian with short hair and have Christian as the Intercontinental Champion, or actually you could put Christian with Jericho as well and be World Tag Team Champions again. So loads of choices. Christian does have 3 theme songs. Well, technically one is Edge's, but yes, you have Edge and Christian's theme, the original. Edge has his who was the band that sung not the Alter Bridge song, the second theme, I forget. But yes, Edge has his 2002 music, or 2001 music rather, and his Edge and Christian theme. And Christian has At Last You Are Now on Your Own, and he has the Here Comes the Pain theme. Next up is Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy comes with 2 Hardy Boys attires. Again, I am saving space. And the Mattitude attire. Obviously 2 themes there. He has the Hardy Boys as well as version 1. And you can have him back with Jeff, or you can have him have a singles run on his own and win the Cruiserweight title and more. Next up is Jeff Hardy, and as I said before, I have left space for a 4th attire slot if I can get that Here Comes the Pain model. But Jeff has all 3 attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, teaming back up with Matt and run wild in the tag division. Next up is Bubba Ray Dudley, and this is kind of a career slot for Bubba, because you start off with like the 2001 Dudley Boys attire from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, then the 2 singles run attires from where he was having a slight main event push, and then when he was the Hardcore Champion, and then you go back to the Here Comes the Pain model where he is reunited with Devon and has the Dudley Boys attire as they're back together. Then we got Devon, and as you can see, Devon isn't the Shut Your Mouth model, it is just the Here Comes the Pain model with the Dudley Boys Shut Your Mouth attire. That's because I did not like how the Shut Your Mouth attire, the Shut Your Mouth model turned out. So I thought it was better using the Here Comes the Pain model for both. So 2 Dudley Boys attires for Devon. I might add a 3rd, the blue attire to match Bubba's one. And then you have 3. No River on Devon, I don't think. I think that's enough for them. Dudleys have 3 themes. They have 2 vocal themes, which they had between 2001 and 2003, and they have the instrumental, the first Dudley Boy debut theme. Spike is next, and obviously Spike shares that theme as well. So you can have the Dudleys, all 3 of them together. You can put Spike and Tazz. You can put Spike and Big Show if you want, or just Spike on his own. Next you have TNA. You got Test and Albert. For their first attires, they have their Shut Your Mouth attires, just because I like having tag teams together. And then, obviously, second attire is Short Hair Test, Testicle Test, I guess, and A-Train. Not much else to say. Then we have Farouk and Bradshaw. Their defaults are the APA, and then the second attire for Bradshaw is Cowboy Bradshaw for Raw, if you want Bradshaw on his own. Up next is Mr. Ass Billy Gunn, or just Billy at this stage of his career. He comes with all 3 attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, and a 4th attire, which I haven't actually previewed here, which is the green lips attire, which when he went back to a singles run, and I think Tori Wilson was managing him in 2004. He has the darker hair on that attire as well. So Billy has 3 attires. He has well, if you count Billy and Chuck's theme, he technically has 3 songs on this build, which is Mr. Ass, the one Billy Gunn, and he has obviously Billy and Chuck. Chuck Palumbo's up next, both attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Not much else here. I'm contemplating on doing a third attire with dark hair, just so you could pair him with Sean O'Hare if you want. Then we have Rico, both attires from Here Comes the Pain. You can have Billy, Chuck, and Rico together again, running wild on SmackDown. And then something I love, we have Charlie Haas in the Team Angle attire, which was removed by the final version of SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. No idea why. This should have always been in the game. And the World's Greatest Tag Team should have just been an addition, not something they removed. But right now, the Team Angle attires are the default. So Shelton and Charlie will both have the Team Angle singlets as their first attire. And then if we go to Shelton Benjamin now, you'll see his as well. So they'll have the Team Angle attire as the first attire, their backstage attire, as well as their second attire to wrestle in, and for managerial purposes as well, will be the Team Angle tracksuit. And then you will have the World's Greatest Tag Team attire as the third attire. Then we got Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi are back. Obviously, Rikishi's in Here Comes the Pain, and Scotty 2 Hotty is added in from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Yes, you have Turn It Up, and you have Rikishi's the original Too Cool theme, as well as Bad Man for Rikishi. Maven and Al Snow return, probably one of the best mentor-student on-air relationships. Maven, yes, has his theme and everything else. So does Al Snow. Yeah, and I thought really cool to have him back as a tag team. Ric Flair's here. Everything's the same except one minor addition, which is now his suit attire is not locked. Basically, you can play it in exhibition and you can use it as a manager attire and whatnot. Used to always frustrate me in the retail game when they had the suit attire on the disc, but if you were playing with Flair as a manager for, say, Orton, Batista, or Triple H, he was always in his trunks. It's crazy. So that's not locked anymore. He has 4 attires. Then we got Bill Goldberg. Now, Goldberg actually has 2 attires. I have made a backstage attire, which is based off of his debut on Raw in 2003, with the leather jacket, the neck shirt, and the jeans. The reason I haven't displayed it here is because I do have old press releases for SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, where they did mention that attire actually was in the game. Goldberg did have 2 attires. Whether that was made or not, or just planned, I don't know. I'm hoping to maybe get earlier builds and have a look and see. I already have quite a few, but none with Goldberg on except a kiosk build. So, and with that, he only has one. Well, everyone only has 1 attire on that, minus Triple H for some reason. So yes, so Goldberg, if I can get an earlier build, I will use the official. Otherwise, I will use my custom, and he'll have 2 attires. Kevin Nash is up next, and Kevin Nash comes with 3 attires. He has the NWO ring attire, he has NWO backstage attire from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, and he has the Big Daddy Cool attire from Here Comes the Pain. Next up is X-Pac from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Yes, he has the NWO attire, but he's also got 2 other attires in development at the moment. One is the green DX attire. The other is a purple X-Pac attire, which he wore when he was WWF Cruiserweight Champion and... WWF Light Heavyweight Champion, and WCW Cruiserweight Champion. Next up is Rey Mysterio. No change for Rey. Then we have Diamond Dallas Page. Yes, he does have his entrance attire as well, don't worry. And as I said, please pay no attention to these menu poses. I'll fix all the animations once I figure out where they are located. Yes, but DDP is in here. He also has his win pose. Scott Steiner, no change. Exactly the same as the Here Comes the Pain default. Rhino, same thing. Then we have Lance Storm. He has his Here Comes the Pain attire, as well as his Un-American SmackDown Shut Your Mouth attires, which is pretty cool. Team him up with Christian, team him up with Regal, team him up with Val Venus. Do what you like. Next up is Tajiri, no change. Then we have Goldust, no change. Then we have Hardcore Holly from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. He actually has one more attire, which is his iconic black, blue, and pink attire from the Attitude Era. I think that was his attire. No, not in... I want to say it was in SmackDown Just Bring It, but that might actually be my development copy of SmackDown Just Bring It, and they changed it for the retail. I'm not sure, but either way, he has that attire as well. Then we have Sean O'Haire. Waste of potential. Just, this guy was so athletic and so huge and great character, and then they paired him with Roddy Piper. I could not understand that. Should have been a single star. Should have been a really big star. Then we have Tazz from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Great to have Tazz back in the game. Then we have Hurricane. Hurricane has both his SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and SmackDown Shut Your Mouth models. I might do a variant where the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth outfit is just on the Here Comes the Pain model. I'm not sure yet. Then we have Billy Kidman back in to add to your Cruiserweight division. Fun fact, when you start season mode in version 10, Billy Kidman is the Cruiserweight champion. Then we have Val Venus. Val Venus has both attires from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth as well as the attire from Here Comes the Pain. Really like the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth attires more than Here Comes the Pain one here. Really good for a singles run on SmackDown. The matches he was having in 2002 when he was... Well, actually, he was always a great wrestler, but in 2002... I'd really recommend watching the King of the Ring qualifying matches he had, especially against Chris Jericho. There was really good matches. Really good matches. Underused Ultimo Dragon, but he might not be in Here Comes the Pain. You can have him win all the titles if you want, because he's in. Stevie Richards retains and stays in Here Comes the Pain, no change. Mark Henry is back in Here Comes the Pain. And this isn't the only attire Mark Henry will have. I'm currently working on a red and silver variant attire, which he wore, I think, around the time of Unforgiven 2003. So Mark Henry at the moment has his SmackDown Shut Your Mouth theme, but also you'll be able to give him, obviously, Rodney Mack / Teddy Long's theme as well. Then we have Raven from SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Again, please pay no attention to the menu poses. Then rounding the roster out, we have Batista, we have John Cena, and then we have Randy Orton. Now, you may notice that Randy Orton finally actually doesn't just have his Shut Your Mouth attire, he actually has his Evolution ring tights. And yes, those trunks are not just the black ones. I do have the purple ones done as well. So finally, Randy Orton in Evolution does match and does work. Then we have, let's see, our sort of, they're not NPCs because they're playable in Exhibition, but we have like our sort of authority figures, I guess. We have Vince, which you might notice the suit is different because I never liked the red shirt suit. He has the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth suit that's on the retail edition of SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, and the reason that is because in my definitive edition of SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, Vince McMahon has his prototype suit, which was the suit that he's wearing from, I think, the very first trailer all the way up until, midway into the press junket of it. So it's nice to have this suit on SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Then we come to the women, and the women on SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. What is wrong there? Oh, there we go. Right, so the women of Here Comes the Pain, there's something I have to talk about here. If you played version 8 or before, you'll know that most of the divas, apart from Trish and Stephanie, were removed due to the increased size of the roster. And to start season, you needed creator divas on the roster. What I've done to rectify that in version 10 is I've unlocked the non-playable character slots for season. Now, the game, if I did that for Exhibition, the game would crash. But in season, it doesn't. So basically in season, everybody you see here walks around, is playable, and works in every single storyline. So, like I said, Trish and Stephanie are both available in Exhibition as well. But in season, it is Tori Wilson, Lita, Victoria, Stacy Keibler, and Sable all appear in season mode. So you can do the bra and panties matches when they appear in season mode. When you're in the stable story, you can pick an actual diva now again. When you do the relationship or managerial stories, you can do the same thing. You can pick an actual diva. There's no need for created divas anymore in this. Last thing I will point out, at the moment, Stacy Keibler's attire is the default one that is on the retail builds. I, however, have one where in the early build of the game, that shirt says I heart testicles. It's from when she was managing Test. I've debated whether to put that back in or not. I do for my own personal version. So I might do for version 10. If you guys want it, let me know in the comments. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the roster. I mean, you've got I think well over 150 attires total. It's crazy. Probably the most complete Here Comes the Pain up to this point now, like especially putting all the divas back in. Yes, I know there's still no Rodney Mack and Sean Stasiak, but obviously Sean Stasiak is in my SmackDown Shut Your Mouth Definitive Edition, which you will see soon. And Rodney Mack, I can put him back in. It's just, like I said, I'm waiting on seeing if I can get any other builds, because I want to use that disk space for having Here Comes the Pain Jeff Hardy, Here Comes the Pain Hulk Hogan, and possibly Here Comes the Pain Ultimate Warrior. Obviously I removed all the legends, but maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll do some other like special version where only the characters that were announced for Here Comes the Pain in the original press release will make the cut. And do something like that. I'm not sure yet. But that'll be like obviously an optional version. Definitive Edition is where it's at. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button and give it a like. Share and subscribe for more. If you have any questions regarding Here Comes the Pain, please leave a comment down below or hit me up on Twitter. I'm doing a question and answers video soon after this. Then we're moving on to rebuilding SmackDown Shut Your Mouth in the next episode. If you can support me on Patreon, please do at patreon.com/ScottJ. I just lost a parent, so I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.